My name is Matt Foley, and I'm a motivational speaker.
Back when we watched Saturday Night Live all the time, like you couldn't miss it. Now it's like, didn't see it.
Hey, Dad, is that Bill Shakespeare with you? I can't tell. Right now, our attention is gone, so we better cut into it.
So it's episode 3, so I dressed up.
You gotta keep it classy.
A little bit of fancy. We're talking to a couple sponsors.
We are talking to a couple of sponsors.
So
You got friends in high places.
This is how you know we're ready for prime time.
Yeah.
Because I wore a tuxedo t-shirt.
You wear that well.
I'm kind of a t-shirt, like novelty t-shirt guy. I don't know why.
Well, luckily for you, there's a whole merch store to aid in your novelty t-shirts. And everybody else's novelty t-shirts that are out there, too.
In case you want to live vicariously through a random shirt that says Big Wheel on it, or safe word, and a picture of a big wheel.
But what better way than to draw attention and say, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, hey, my safe word is big wheel.
I listened to this idiot's story.
I listened to the show. Do you know what quote? You're a big quote guy, movie quote guy.
God, I hope I'm not. I hope I don't fail you.
I don't think you can fail me on this one.
Okay.
But it's been just ringing in my ears all week. Is that Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ace, if you know what I mean, dude.
I think you're.
He's like, I knew from experience, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yes, they did.
No, you
don't. Yes, they did. No,
well, not me personally, but a guy I know. Him and her got it on. Woo-wee!
You're getting after it right now. I think
You're supposed to.
I think the last.
No, they didn't.
I think the last episode of the Pee in the Pants really inspired your love for this.
We brought back so many Tommy Boy and Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore.
Those are so good, though.
And even the cult classic Black Sheep.
Yes,
it's basically Tommy Boy Part 2.
Yeah,
it's just those were the great days.
Well, it was
of
back
movie
when
gold.
It's also back when comedy was like, I'm just gonna say some dumb stuff, and I don't really care, and everybody loved it back then.
My name is Matt Foley, and I'm a motivational speaker.
Back when we watched Saturday Night Live all the time, like you couldn't miss it. Now it's like, didn't see it.
Hey, Dad, is that Bill Shakespeare with you? I can't tell. Right now, our attention is gone, so we better cut into it. Hey, we'll get right into it. Joined with the top secret classy, keeping it classy, better known as Jay, Big G. I'm gonna upgrade my moniker one day, as you said. Just not today.
I did say that.
Not today.
We probably need to nail that down.
Question: are you for everyone?
As it turns out, no, I am not for everyone. And there's a shirt to go along with that,
for everyone.
By the way.
Well, we may just have to edit that whole initial intro, but we're going to skip right into our dad life moment. And let's just give celebration to the dad over here sitting on the couch. You've got a big week next week. Ooh. Graduation is here.
So this week, I've had my 9-year-old graduate from 3rd grade. I don't really I even talked to my wife about this, and I'm like, hey, did you ever have a graduation anywhere from kindergarten until 11th grade? No, not one time. Not one time did we go, okay, let's all gather, and this is your time to be at the school for your 3rd grader to go to 4th grade. Not one time. We did it though, and that part's over. Bigger picture, my twin 18-year-olds, boy and a girl, Taylor, Logan, love you.
Can we just right there?
I know, they're so good.
Round of
they're
applause.
both so good,
Round of applause.
despite my efforts. Those kids are actually really good.
They overcame.
They did. They graduate from high school this year. One going up to New York to play rugby,
Full scholarship, you said, right?
The daughter.
Full scholarship?
Taylor, yes.
Yep.
Son Logan going into the forestry service at sciences at Cal Poly
Let's go.
at Santa Cruz.
Let's go.
I'm hoping he finds his people in Santa Cruz and doesn't get with the crazies, but
They're out there.
he's a level-headed kid though, and he's a gym bro. So
He's
making Dad proud.
The fact that you were able to say for both of your kids, they already had figured out what they're going to do next.
I know. I texted my daughter today.
That's winning.
I was like, you already know more about what you want to do in your life at this age than I had any clue. I was like, I guess I'm joining the Marine Corps. I could live at home or I could join the Marine Corps. So
You figured it out.
yeah, even though my dad looked at me and goes, hey, we don't join the Marine Corps. We don't get our fingernails dirty. I was like, well, I'm doing it. And I was like,
You said no,
I'm definitely doing it. And like every 4 years, I was like, I'm such an idiot. Like, but I'm going to re-enlist. But I said that at my retirement speech. I literally was just like, every 4 years, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. My dad was like, don't do this. This is hard. Join the Air Force. And I was like,
The guitar.
Again, the guitar. We have said this. But again, the Air Force has hard parts, but the majority, they live pretty nicely. Like I've been deployed next to them.
I've always heard about their golf courses.
Well, magically every base they have is built around a great golf course.
And they're really pristine.
Yeah.
They're not the...
And the Marines have 29 palms, which is a good 3 hours away from a decent golf course. Or an hour, I think.
Well, that's where they keep the focus on. They don't need you playing golf. We derailed, though. We
did.
derailed. So
Quite a
back
bit.
to graduation.
Sorry.
We're there.
Graduation.
So congrats.
Twins.
That's big money.
Twins,
That's big
Basil.
money. We just my two, one graduated kindergarten today. That was a huge win.
That's a big one for that.
Huge win. And you knew all the words to whatever song they were singing. That was.
You were paying attention. Good job.
I was paying attention. I was like,
You probably have it on video, so it counts.
It counts. And then I got one going in the third grade. So those are big dad life.
Those are big
moments.
ones.
So, but congrats to you. You've got two. Moving on. Going to college.
I know, right?
Going to college. We
New
got
fear.
a college guy over
New
here.
fear. New fear unlocked.
Unlocked.
New fear unlocked. Because I've been around college campuses, like when I was in high school. Obviously, I didn't go to them, but I have an idea. So luckily, my daughter really inherited a lot of mean traits from me. I'm not.
She's gonna survive.
Like,
No
it's,
issue.
like at no point in time, I'm like, oh, is she gonna be? No, she's mean and she can fight, so she's good.
She plays
rugby.
There you go. Hey, as the kids would say less.
Oh, on God,
On God, quit cap.
no cap.
No cap. No cap. Hey, so in the news,
Okay.
this is gonna be a surprise for you.
I love it when you do this. Are you gonna have me read something?
I'm not gonna
Okay,
have you
good,
read it.
good.
'Cause we know how that goes, and I do not have enough ink for font size.
I hope you catch my
72.
face in that.
We'll zoom in. There's some
Okay.
clever editing. Have you heard of this? Jiu-jitsu. I can't say it.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
I have unfortunately stumbled across
Car
this reel
jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu. So I can
with
say
the
it.
seatbelt on. Okay, I've stumbled across this reel, and you're springing this on me. Thought you're gonna catch me.
Well,
Guess what?
jiu-jitsu.
I have seen a couple reels on it. I didn't dig deep into it, but I did see two guys seat belted into a car, and then whistle blows or timer goes or whatever, and they have to try to get the other dude. And like a lot of them, their first like tactical is to go and hold the other guy's seatbelt so he's locked in place and make sure theirs is undone so they can get the proper advantage or whatever. So I have seen it.
Well, the rules are right.
Oh, you know,
I've got the rules here that two
Nothing like
competitors are
not
seated
prepared.
in the driver and passenger seats of the car.
Yep.
And before the match starts, as you mentioned, they must be buckled in.
Mm-hmm.
Once the match begins,
Law's the law.
Both competitors must unbuckle themselves and attempt to submit their opponent inside the vehicle. So the game is pretty easy to understand. Each round lasts for 3 minutes.
3 minutes fighting in a car.
In a car.
F that.
Both competitors are allowed to utilize any part of the vehicle's interior to their advantage, including seat belts, steering wheels, window sills. Before I move on, how many of these take place in a manual transmission? Because that could get interesting.
I've only seen ones automatic, and usually it's not like a luxury vehicle with a lot of room.
Manual transmission would get interesting. I mean, that's one place you don't want to land, especially with the parking brake up. Anyways, just like in traditional Brazilian jiu-jitsu matches.
Said it right that time, buddy.
Well, I've been jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu.
Really too much emphasis on the first syllable, though. Let's take it down a notch.
I really came out of the gates poorly, so I'm trying to overcompensate. Competitors are rewarded points by judges for taking advantageous positions and mounts while moving around on the vehicle's interior. So that's left up, that's pretty subjective. What would be an advantageous position and mount inside of a car?
I would say the mount. I mean, you get on top of your competitor. Guard doesn't really benefit you at a 45-degree angle, or however far you are.
I don't know that our audience knows that you can put down that you're a fighter, man. I don't know that they know.
I don't know if I'm a fighter. I did some Marine Corps martial arts for a bit. I attempted after I retired to do a little bit of jiu-jitsu.
See, it's a
thing.
It happens.
As it turns out, larger guys might struggle with it. I had an issue.
Flexibility, maybe.
We're going to go with cardio, which has been a plague on my life, by the way.
I called you the other day. I said, I'm doing fatio.
That's one of the best descriptions I've ever heard of it.
Say less.
But going into this jiu-jitsu dojo, my professor, 130-pound guy, and he just every time he's like, Jason, front and center, full speed. And I'm like, I'm the example again, right? And I finally asked him, I was like, why am I always the example? He's like, because if it works on you, it'll work on everyone.
Turns out everybody likes beating up on the big guy.
As it turns out, I prove the technique.
As it turns out, I've been choked out in my own backyard by a 130-pound person.
You have.
So,
I haven't
anyways,
we know it's not me because
well, you are not 130. But to wrap this up, winner is declared by winning 2 out of 3 rounds. That's not rude. Nobody, you're not 130. Come on, you don't want to be 130.
You never know.
You never know. Well,
could be.
If you do, we're probably going to be praying for you. Anyways, if it is a tie, they take it to the back seat, and then they fight it out in the back seat. But that's, to me...
So the win's a submission, I assume?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, more points for advantageous mounts.
Which is somewhat up for debate in a car.
Yeah.
Or because a lot of fighters love a good guard because they can attack from that point. So
yeah.
I can't say...
I'd imagine the back seat gives you a little bit more flexibility.
It might. Also less. I mean, it's just why is this a thing?
Why is it a thing? It probably translates well to social media. Has anybody's head been slammed into the window, and have we seen a shatter?
I haven't seen that.
Because you can use any part of the car.
You said windowsill. Is that like a choke? Like you pull a windowsill off and use it as a foreign object? WWE.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
And that's the bottom line because J. Cole said so.
Well, I just thought we'd touch on Car-Jitsu.
You can't say it.
It's a problem. It's a problem. It's a car martial arts.
There you go. That's way better.
There we go. Car fighting.
Car fighting.
There we go. I only took a turn there.
Usually you do that with your spouse.
Car fighting?
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Happens.
Okay, enough of that. So I was thinking this would be a good time to share some stories in the theme of...
I love the surprise stories.
the surprise stories in the theme of when keeping it real goes wrong. Now, did you used to watch Dave Chappelle?
Yeah,
Chappelle show?
quite a bit actually. Still, I watch the show still. He's still putting out.
Hilarious.
He's really good.
When keeping it real goes wrong. I have a story that I'll lead us off with.
Good.
And I know you've got a few stories here as you think about this. So imagine this. You're a young kid, middle school.
Okay.
You've got an older sister.
I do.
I do too.
How many years older, by the way? It's important.
Four.
2.
Yeah. And they're in high school.
Yeah.
Right? And she's got hot friends. And you obviously want to impress. You want to impress her friends, right? Because this is she's the cool, high school. You're still trying to figure it out, and you just want
everybody older at that point.
You want to make a good impression on her friends. I mean, say less.
Plus, you're figuring out what a girl is.
Out, but you know that you like girls.
Yeah.
Well, when keeping it real goes wrong. This is a time.
So out there, I have no clue the script for today.
Know where it's going. And I know my sister's laughing at this. There was a time that I thought it would be a good idea to wear spandex biker shorts, shirtless, and walk into her room with her friends and showcase all the goods. Little did I know that white spandex biker shorts leave little to the imagination. So me, a pre-pubescent, is that a right word? Pubescent. Pubescent.
Yeah.
Me and words today. Good
thing you're a podcast.
I know. Walking into this room and being like, "Hey, ladies."
That was your lead-in line. Hey, ladies.
Ladies.
Wow.
Shirtless.
How old were you at this point in time? Because this is bold.
You got to say 8. And you got to remember, I came from the husky realm.
Yes.
So that was a lot of fat, a lot of huskiness. I was a big boy, big kid. I wore the husky jeans, which I think our politically correctness do not have any. Anyways, I showed it off. I was, hey.
Full lineman.
Full see-through white biker shorts.
So you're saying you had a really great reaction.
Yes, that carried with me throughout my high school career.
Wow. One middle school decision.
But the good news is they all thought it was cute. And they always bring it up. They're like, do you remember when you wore those white biker shorts? That's, to me, when keeping it real went wrong.
Ever date any of those?
No. My sister would not allow that. And by the time that, I promise you, because I was one of those kids that hit puberty at the age of 23, I was never mature enough to date it.
Wrong.
It's a reality. But puberty was a slow roller for me, man. Like, that's straight up.
You're a giant. What are you talking about? I graduated high school at 135.
I think I grew my first arm hair at 32, and I'm turning 40 here this year, so.
40. So upsetting. I'll say, as it pertains to sisters and their friends, my sister was a big softball player. But all of her teammates thought I was cute. So, my growing up and following her because apparently she was the priority in our family. Followed her on her sports and her traveling team and all this stuff. That was my first kiss, was one of her teammates. And
it's networking.
It's what it was. Well, actually, I was all that was available, to be honest.
Lucky.
I was I was in a good position. There was a lot of girls on her team, and I was one of 2 boys that was anywhere near their age. So, and I was kind of funny. That's all I had going for me. I was just kind of funny. I was a small bird kid that you could see his rib cage, and it worked out for me. But
you did not wear husky jeans.
No, I always had to shop at the grade below. Everybody you're wearing that size, and I'm like, It fits.
One of these days.
Now I don't have that problem. I'm like, now they're like, you're in that size.
That's why you're on the kind of fit, kind of fat podcast.
Shut up, Richard.
Shut up, Richard. You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
Yeah, they're called doctors.
Oh, is that? Yeah, we're just going to go down a rabbit hole of
quotes.
Of doing that.
For the record, since we're talking about movie quotes,
please enlighten me.
You still, to this day, have not watched my one recommended movie for you, Big Trouble in Little China. Wow.
That was aggressive. That did not play out the way I thought.
No, it didn't. You should edit the hell out of that because you didn't come off tough at all.
Well, that's
what's funny is one of those knives is in that movie, by the way.
What kind of knife is this? Trivia.
Metal.
Touche. Touche.
Come at me, bro.
That say less.
On God.
That. On God. That would be a Gurkha knife.
Oh, like the cigar?
Is there a Gurkha cigar?
Yeah.
Well, then, yeah.
Hey, Gurkha.
Is it from the Nepalese warrior, the Gurkhas?
No. There's a whole brand of cigars. Gurkha, get at us, bro.
Check us out.
We are looking for sponsors.
Well, anyways, when Keeping It Real goes wrong, you had a really good one. The dog food story. That's one that we need to share with this audience because
I will, once again, I'm going to put the disclaimer out here. All the names I'm going to change to protect the innocent. Okay. Moving on. So I think I was an E6 staff sergeant at the time, and I joined this unit. We took a 7-plane det up to middle of nowhere. It's called Fort Hunter Liggett in Middle California, I'll call it. And we're supposed to be simulating actual on our own, no support, nowhere near anything. So we didn't bring anything with us. We were ill prepared. And by anything, I mean snacks, food, beer. So this whole time, like, they restricted vehicles. We weren't allowed to, like, really go out and grab stuff. Me and my friend, Mike, not going to say your last name, get a vehicle, and we finally go to a store. And we're living in tents. Like, we're not, and they're big tents, and, like, we're all just together. So it's not like, you know, we're staying in a hotel. We're not in a dormitory, Air Force. But we finally get to, like, a maybe what's considered a souped-up, like, gas station food mart is what we get. And we have everybody's money. It's because we're like, we got this vehicle. We're taking it. We're just going to use it. We're not supposed to be, because for whatever reason, the Army, the Air Force, Navy, they'll go in what we call out in town, off base in their uniforms. The Marines are like, no, you don't work. You don't. You need gas? Change. You need to pick up your kid? Change. Like, no. You'll see Army guys in the mall in their camis. Like, yeah, that's meant for the field, bro. Like, what are you doing? But I digress. We're in flight suits, and we don't have anything else, so we're going to the store. So we go there, and we get, the standard, all their beer, and, Doritos, and, I forgot about the Coon Bear.
The what?
We'll come back to that. The Coon Bear.
Okay, come back to that.
So we get, like, snacks, Doritos, and all this, and then as I'm walking past, like, to the register, I see this whole row of dog food, and I'm like, ding. So I got this little kettle that, the old ones that you used to put your, cup of soup in or whatever, or your ramen noodles, and you heat it up, and you pour it out, and it's fine. So I get one of those too. It was on discount, not at a thrift store, by the way, a little more expensive. Got it, and then we checked out, and I got a couple cans of dog food. And as I'm out in the parking lot, Mike's like, what are you doing? And I grab these cans, and I'm ripping off the labels. And I hit him on the side of the curb, and I dent him up. And he goes, what are you doing, Jay? And I'm like, you'll find out. So we get back to camp, and, like, everybody's, having a couple beers. And, you get a little hungry. So, We're eating chips. We're doing this, that, and the other. We're doing, telling stories, doing whatever we need to do. So we're telling stories, doing whatever we need to do. And everybody's like, oh, I'm starting to get hungry. I go, oh, I got us some chili. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, I got some chili while we're there in this little pot to heat it up in. And so, I get an extension cord, go to the generator, make this like big deal about how much I took care of them. I open up these cans. I was like, hey, why are they dented? And like, we got them on the clearance aisle. They're like 15 cents a can. So I pour this dog food. We have one spoon, by the way, between us. And I'm pouring this dog food in, and I'm mixing it all up. And Warren is also an appearance from the previous. Yes. He is also a part of this. Brian is as well. Brian's the one that caught us. There was like, I don't know, 8 to 10 dudes sitting in the circle. We're just drinking beer, eating Doritos. That's not doing it. I heat this up, and I literally pass it around with a spoon. And I go, I'm not going to eat first because that would be rude. I made it, and you guys trusted me, so here. Literally gave them dog food, told them it was scratch and dent like chili. And it made its way around, and like as it's going around, each guy's like, it's oddly salty, or this doesn't taste like chili. And it gets to Brian, and I don't remember whether Brian took a bite or not. Brian hit me up, and it just like it got over there, and Mike's losing his mind. He's like, oh, we should not have done this. They're gonna kill us. And I looked at Brian, and Brian's like, is this dog food? And I was like, and I didn't answer. I just laughed immensely. Warren's always his comment. Okay, so history, Marine Corps, Devil Dogs, Teufelhunden, we call us because of World War II, Bellewood. But when Warren is like not happy with you, he'll look at you and go, devil, devil dog. But in a why would you do this to me? Like tone. We'll cover another part of devil some other time. So he's the guy that was before Brian. And so when Brian goes, is this dog food? And I go, and I just start laughing and losing my stuff. Warren looks right at me and goes, devil, why would you do that? And I just couldn't, I just died laughing. I eventually had to give it up that it was dog food, that I fed every one of these Marines.
I'm curious, how did he know it was dog food?
How do you not? Like, it tasted off, but I'll tell you this. Have you ever tasted dog food?
I can't say that I have.
Oh, you're not a Marine then.
Well,
we eat crayons, too. So,
eat lead. Just jump it down.
You can edit this out, but Coon Bear story from the same trip that I just remembered. We were eating those same Doritos, and I was like really cocky and talking trash to somebody, and I was leaning back in this really rickety chair, and we were right next to this barbed wire fence that was our boundary, and I had fallen back, and this raccoon was like right here, and he like reached back to scratch my face. And I was just like, oh my God. And like I got out, because raccoons aren't nice, right? Uh-oh. So like I jump out of the way, and like I get up, and I'm not masculine running away, because this raccoon almost scratched my face. It's a moneymaker, baby. What do you think we're doing here? So like the next day when they're like, hey man, tell them what happened to you last night. And I'm like, this thing was like 3 feet tall. And they're like, bro, that was like a foot tall. Come on, dude. So it evolved into the story of everyone else going, it was a coon bear. It was the size of a bear. It was so big. The legend of the coon bear. But it was like maybe this tall, like right next to me. But
they're scary, man. They're scary.
They likes Doritos, by the way.
Apparently.
Doritos. Hit me up.
When we first moved into this house, maybe a year and a half in, we got a really unique garage, but I would always leave like the back door to the garage open for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe just atmospheric.
It's an odd choice.
It is an odd choice. I'm an odd guy.
You are in the South. Like, it's not LA. Like,
so I've got the gym down there, and I keep my gym bag and everything in there. And then the next day, I was walking down the stairs to go to the gym, and I look in my bag, open it up to get my gym shoes out, and there's a possum. And it comes out.
Ready to fight.
Ready to fight, teeth rearing.
Just a ball of rabies about to ruin your life.
We talk about the most unmasculine sound.
There's no way to be masculine.
It was, I don't even want to recreate it, but I know that my wife was like, what was that? And this thing's like, in my bag, just screaming at me, and I don't know what to do.
So your reaction is, I have a follow-up question later, but please go.
My initial reaction was grab a broom and beat it, in which I do. And so I grabbed
that does nothing.
I grabbed the broom, whack it a couple of times. He jumps out and starts coming after me.
Yeah.
Well, multiply the non-masculine sound times two.
That happens.
And now I'm running out, and this thing's chasing me, right? And so I run out, and I go back around the backyard, through the back door, back through the house to walk down the stairs. And that thing is just in my room, in the garage, expressing this dominance. I'm
just gotta let you know that's his garage now.
Take it. I'm not. This is your room until you decide to move out.
Here's the deed.
Here's the deed, and take it. That thing, like a coon bear, it was 12 feet long.
12 feet long.
The teeth were
At least
as long as my
size of bananas.
And I don't know. I don't know. It took me another 2 hours to get the testicular fortitude up to go handle
What a
the
great
situation.
term, testicular fortitude. Hey, get that going. Look at that viral. Everybody.
There it is.
Testicular fortitude.
And it was eventually the combination of a rake and a flat shovel. That
No headgear on, no gloves.
between the rake and the flat shovel, I've got her
thought you
out.
had it? Okay,
It was a scoop and score.
Going with her, huh?
Well, it had
Okay, back to my question.
It had nipples. So I'm assuming.
I'm gonna reference another movie. I've got nipples. Can you milk me?
Can you milk? I've got nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
See? Anyway, my question for you is, what was in that bag? You got like a secret stash of food, couple protein bars. You got a protein shake.
Probably.
You got some.
There's probably some old protein, and there was a lot of hand chalk. I don't know but mustiness. Is mustiness a draw for a possum?
Maybe.
Maybe it was a nice home. It was nice, warm, and that's where
contained heat.
They wanted to settle.
Oh, it liked your musk, liked your scent.
There you go. But hey, it didn't like it when it expressed dominance. That thing.
Well, it was comfortable.
Every time I see one,
you try to evict it.
When I see it,
Takes you right back.
When it crosses the road, I accelerate.
That's how I would do too.
Just like squirrels.
You got two choices at that point in time. You can hit the grass or you can hit the gas, or you can.
Now who's expressing dominance?
Well, you are in a car.
You know what? Nobody likes an opossum. So another story when keeping it real goes wrong. It's pretty funny. So me and the wife, she was in pre-wife phase this time.
Girlfriend.
So courting.
Or fiance. What stage?
She may still be girlfriend. Definitely girlfriend.
Okay.
By this story. So me and my best friend Houston, my pre-wife at this time, who is my wife, we'll just refer for the sake of the story.
I like how we're going pre-wife. We just made that a new moniker.
We'll call her pre-wife.
So now, from now on, on God
is pre-wife.
Use pre-wife. Add that.
So pre-wife, she invites us down to her big farm. This is probably maybe the third time that I've been there. I've never brought a friend. So now it's validation, right? It's validation of I've got the one that I'm going to marry. And oh, by the way, her family's cool. And oh, by the way, she has a farm.
You've met her family. Has she met yours at this point in time?
I cannot remember that. Yeah.
That way you know, because
I'll just put it.
Because dudes will go.
Yeah.
We'll go to great lengths.
Well, when you
take somebody home to our mom, it's like it's got to be real.
It does have to be real, but when you know that you've out-punted your coverage by
that's all of us, right?
A whole football field.
That's all of us, right?
Yeah, it is. You were trying to lock this down as fast. So I'm on an accelerated timeline and plan at this point because somehow she's convinced that I attractive and the one.
Yeah.
And so before she changes her mind, I've got to get this.
You got to get this locked out.
Got to get it locked in.
Okay, makes
but
sense.
then it comes to like now you've got to impress her family. So we go down there, and I was able to bring a friend to now validate that she has a really cool farm and really cool parents, and it's really
Validation for
there's
your friend.
I really trust this guy. And,
Okay.
I was just
checking.
I didn't need his validation, but I feel like it would be a really cool weekend. What better weekend than to hang out with your best friend?
Oh, it's probably because you told the stories.
Yes.
And I was
yes.
like,
and now
everybody's like, oh, is that really the way it is?
Yeah.
Or is he trying to hype this up?
So
No hype.
So first off and foremost, we're kind of on the back porch, and we call him down, and he shows up later. He doesn't travel with us, and he shows up with a half case of beer, and he instantly gets ridiculed. So we make him go back to the store to get a full case of beer. And so
how many beers did you bring to the?
I'm in at this point, right? Now I'm considered
So you didn't have to bring
pre-family.
Okay. I feel like that's aggressive behavior towards a guest.
Yeah, well, he was the
I finally get to invite a guy, and we're gonna collectively ridicule him.
So we're young.
So he knows how awesome it is here.
We're young, dumb, and then we've got the ammunition in terms of alcoholic confidence to keep us going throughout the night. And so, big farm, we four-wheel all night long.
That's awesome.
In this pond that was super muddy, and we had a blast. And to the point where we're sinking four-wheelers, pulling them out, and somehow they start again. Didn't know at the time that they were brand new, so we got in a lot of trouble for that.
It didn't cost you.
Yeah.
It cost somebody.
Yeah, it did. Turns out that was not a mud pond, but a crap pond where the cows go. So we played in poo all night long.
Solid play.
But where this story really takes a turn is somehow
Not poop bar.
during the night. So my friend, and I'll leave him unnamed,
Houston,
because I probably already named him,
did.
you mentioned, he loses. I don't know. He loses his underwear. I don't know how this happens. He may have changed. I don't know.
he's going streaking.
He's going
through
streaking
the quad.
through the quad, through the gymnasium. So
Don't Farley my Farrell. Don't Farley my Farrell.
And okay, so we'll keep going. He loses his underwear in the crap pond. And me, being the gentleman that I am, in my pre-wife's or girlfriend's parents' house, sleeping in another room,
Okay.
no funny business going on.
Yeah.
Right?
Being respectful.
Being completely respectful, probably as far away as I could be. Right? And
Really, really selling yourself here. It's like you guys didn't never cross the line at that property.
never. And
Okay, moving on.
this, I wake up early. And I see her dad on a horse. The sun coming up behind him. This is like Yellowstone.
The masculine dad.
Picture this. On a horse.
Oh.
Sun coming up behind him. All you see is his silhouette. And you see a stick come up with underwear on.
No way. He flagged it.
He's flagging it in on the long ride home.
Thank God it wasn't yours.
He doesn't know this.
I don't care.
He thinks it is.
I'm thinking long term because I'm hearing the story.
Well, he thinks it is mine. That's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm sitting here. It's like, well, he found Houston's. Oh my God, he doesn't know it's not mine. And of course, he comes all the way up.
Yeah.
Flagging the underwear. He's like,
What a bold move.
look what I found.
Is this guy next to Chuck Norris at this time? Good Lord.
And we had a long night. I could not remember whose underwear that was.
Well, you had yours.
Well, I had mine. I think I just draw a blank.
That's called blacking out, by the way. What I like to call that is the mind eraser.
But Houston came and saved me. He's like, oh, you found my underwear. And so that totally got me out of the...
What a bold move for a friend, dude.
So that's when keeping it real almost went wrong. But long story short, we got married and we got 2 kids. And the underwear thing didn't seem to be a deal breaker.
I met Christy's dad for the first time. And we were going hunting.
Oh, this is always a good time to meet the dad when there's ammunition and guns involved.
Yeah. Let me go and give you some background. Grew up in Atlanta. in the suburbs. Not a lot of hunting in my past.
You were ready to go.
No, knew nothing.
Oh, I know.
Luckily, I was like, luckily I knew about guns and everything because I was in the Marine Corps for a certain amount. I was like 17 years in the Marine Corps at that time. But
You were just hunting different things.
yeah. So, but like the night before we're going out there, I'm sitting there, her brother's there. Again, to protect the innocent, Clint.
All these innocent people you're
We're
protecting.
watching football, and the guy gets, the quarterback gets sacked in the end zone, and her dad goes, touchback. And I go, no, it's a safety. And immediately her brother looks at me and goes, what are you doing? And I go, that's football 101. Hello. That's obviously not a touchback. The quarterback got sacked in the end zone. Bang, safety, 2 points, and you got to punt it. A little too cocky. And her brother looks at me and goes, this is your first time meeting him, and you want to correct him at football? That's your play. And I was like, and I just kind of quietly sat down, and her dad looked at me, and Jerry looked at me. He's like, I was like, son of a
Set the
done.
tone. Set the tone.
We go out, and I take this gun on a walk for the better part of 9 hours, from like 3 o'clock in the morning to whatever time it was. And he is, he's tracking elk, this mythical beast that I've never seen before. We're walking all over, and we're up in Wyoming, so I am exhausted at this altitude we're at. And we're walking, he picks up poop, he's like puts it on his face, and I immediately, city guy's like, what are you doing? Why are you putting poop on your face? And he goes, now they're pretty near, it's still warm. And I was like, this guy is sincere. He's aggressively sincere. And at the end of the day, we ended up not finding any, so we're on our way back, and I am asleep in the truck, dead out. And he had gotten a call from one of his nephews that they may have caught one in their property, and they needed somebody else to come tag it, right? So it's hung up in their barn. Never seen the carcass of an elk, by the way. I get there, and, we're there, and they're like, hey, we're going to use that tag. That way you guys can get the meat, and we can get the meat too. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm like, okay, you guys do that. And immediately her dad goes, hey, Jay, why don't you come in here and help us cut the head off? I was like, oh my God, here we go. And he just hands me a saw like I know what I'm doing. I'm like, so I just start, man, and I get after it, and I hit that esophagus. And in case you don't know, because I didn't, there is a gas that comes out of there that's
Brutal.
that is terrible.
Brutal.
And it took me to a knee, and I was like, don't throw up in front of these people. Because, this is all their families there. And I'm, trying to impress them. This is my first time meeting them. And I'm cutting the head off of an elk. And I hit this gas pocket, and I took a knee, dude. And and my wife is like, she can't say anything, because then it would be like, he's less masculine amongst all these men.
Yeah.
And I just had to stand up and take it, and I got through it. And he looks at me and he goes, okay. I think he saw it.
Was that it? Did that still
No.
No.
He saw it in me. He knew. And it was like, he looked at me and he was like, remember that safety? I was like, I felt that. And he goes, now, Jay, we're going to cut down the spine. You just want to cut from this side in the ribs. That way your knuckles get in there. My knuckles are all bloody. I'm just like, whatever at this point in time. I finally get this 2 days of just, butchering our own meat and doing all this stuff. And my wife's like, all right, we got a whole bunch of meat. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want any of that. I'm done.
And he gives you a handsaw, not a sawzall.
No, handsaw.
Nothing.
All of it. Rudimentary. And he was, I know deep inside, and he told me later on after we were married that he laughed inside so much, but he just kept his composure and looked at me and just giggled time after time. Of every time he'd be like, yeah, remember that time where I made you cut the head? But that's what we do. Like, we just, okay, I got to go through this because that's her dad.
That's a pretty. Getting back to the handsaw and mutilating an elk. That's a pretty good way to earn
some kind of respect into a family.
I
had never taken any kind of animal apart by hand. We literally were skinning elk
That's beyond skinning.
and butchering and like separating veins. And I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into?
And I shared this earlier. That reminds me of the time my father-in-law he was gutting a deer and he hit, I don't know, like a blood bag, and it exploded like a bomb went off. And the worst part is, didn't phase him.
He just kept going.
Kept going. There was a little, that's never happened before.
Like he was like commuting in traffic and somebody pulled out in front of him. He's like,
That never bothered to wipe his
on.
face.
Good Lord.
We ended up hunting later that night and go into Arby's. And this is how you know you're in the South, is you go to Arby's and nobody cares. Nobody cares that
no reaction.
What's going on there.
They're like, oh, blood bag, huh?
Blood bag.
They didn't care.
Got you tonight. Me too. I too have hit the blood bag.
I don't know if we can make that a shirt. That's going to be a terrible shirt.
You do not want to make the blood bag shirt. Anyways, guys, we have had a wonderful time with you guys tonight. I hope you enjoyed the stories. Please do go by and check out the merch. All you got to do is the new merch. There's a lot to choose from, and we will have more, and we'll keep adding. Go to fitfatdad.com. Click merch. It'll open up the store, and you will have your wide selection of whatever you want. Or if you got great ideas, submit them.
Yeah.
We'll get them in there too.
Can I pause you here?
Go for it.
Remember last episode I said I don't read the comments.
Did you go read
I went and read the comments.
any comments?
There were some good ones. There was one guy in particular who really had an issue with the amount of cameras that are on. I'm not going to say his username. Probably like Daniel something Myrick.
To protect
the innocent. Like really aggressively. Like I didn't realize I looked this fat on camera. And the real, like all the other ones, like there were some of them that like had some comments about me. And it's like whatever. And then some of them like really positive. But that really kind of stood out to me. So I just want to say, hey Dan, you're not skinny. Moving on. Wrap it up.
Well, going back to that, we actually just had a camera that was on you die. So now we're back to the backup camera. And it took me a minute. I was like, hey, was this comment directed at that Demure camera and the camera adds 10 pounds?
Yeah,
Is that what we were
that was the insult
Yeah.
he was going for.
Yeah.
He was like, every camera adds 10
And then
pounds.
I laughed hysterically, but I don't get it.
I don't know if I
that's a bro joke. 'Cause you're obviously not that way. But knowing that we had a camera die on
For you, Dan.
family show. It's a family show.
That's why I covered it. Censored myself.
Well, anyways, go to the merch, buy it all up. We will make sure that it's back in there if you do buy it all up.
Not you, Dan.
Yeah. Well, actually, Dan, yeah, buy it. Buy it. We'll actually create a shirt that says, "How many cameras do you have on?"
No. I don't need to be the butt of any more of this guy's comments.
And the sound of the bell.